10 o'clock, Wednesday, 10th of September. Just about to leave the gîte at La Chambre. Cloudless sky, the sun shining. Looks as if it's going to be hot. I've sorted out and left here all the cooking equipment in order to lighten the load. God knows when I'm going to get back to pick it up. And we'll have to see. Superb morning. I'm just about to leave the village. Took the wrong turning. Took the wrong route to start with. Fortunately I didn't go too far. Perfect morning. Cool, sunlit, just a trace of autumn. And from where I am I can look back to the Puy de Dôme, very close and very high. It looks very clear this morning. Probably the view is better, just because we're leaving. The village all quiet. Always seem to be French villages. Never know where anyone is. Out along a small, narrow track between dwarf oak and now a wild broom with the black pods snapped open. Also the noise of the grasshoppers, crickets, cicadas, I don't know. Bees. The gîte, the first one I stayed in, a bit like a youth hostel, I suppose, except that you with bunks and communal room where you can cook, showers, all was clean, and the charge was 19 francs. I took the option of having the dinner as well, which was 50 francs, but it was a good 50 francs worth, much more than I could eat. Potato soup, followed by veal with sort of fried potato and onion and green salad, a demi of rouge, followed by cheese, at which time I'd already had 3 bowls of soup. By the cheese course I'd had quite enough really. And then she started bringing on crepe with raspberries inside. Amazing. My fellow travellers were two Frenchmen, one of whom had the gait and manners of an ape, and the other, I think, thought rather a lot of himself. Didn't stop talking. 3 girl students from Paris, young. Two of whom said absolutely nothing, and the third talked incessantly brightly and vivaciously, I suppose. She went well with the Frenchman. And during supper, no one else spoke a word. Even if I could have understood it all, I didn't particularly want us to say anything. There seemed to be an endless conversation about the pros and cons of giving up smoking, whether to or not, and the effects upon oneself. The Frenchman smoked. The girl didn't. But I think had given it up. She had virtue on her side. And this morning, last night after dinner I rang Vicky. No trouble at all getting through. The line was instant and clear as a bell. Everywhere wild raspberries. Never seen anything like it in Britain. I thought the first ones I saw were just a few cultivated ones had been thrown away, but they line the paths all around here. Still moving along this track. Conifer, small conifer, Christmas tree type. Conifer, silver birch. More ash. Elder. Nice mixture. Perfect morning for walking. In the distance, a chainsaw. There were two other couples in the jeep. One, a German couple who I'd seen earlier, climbing the Puy de Dôme. The man looking slightly professorial, I thought. Spectacles. Youngish. Both looked as cool as cucumbers, and they were carrying packs. I was sweating and I wasn't carrying anything at that point. And the other couple, Polish foreigner, German girl. I'm not sure to what extent they were together, but they wanted to have me walk along with them this morning, but I really just want to be on my own. I dare say I'll catch up with them later on. Apparently there's another gîte further along the way I'm going, if I want to use another one. I'm not sure really. It was cheap, but it wasn't really very easy to sit and write during supper, for example, or even to talk into this, both of which I wanted to do. And also in the night, I was reluctant to get up and go to the lab or turn on the light and read, both of which I really would like to have done, because of the shared quarters. But certainly not a bad experience. Moving now into more forest-like growth. Tall pines, cool, lovely, dark and deep, as the man said. Sunlight filtering through. We have the first junction in a forestry clearing wide open. No sign of which way to go, but I think it's pretty obvious. I have, incidentally, no food whatsoever, and the first place that buying some seems possible is about 4 hours from La Chambre. I managed to wheedle a couple of Orangina out of Madame at the Gite, but that's all I've got. However, after last night's dinner, I suppose I should need any for a while. Live off the fat. I must also get some soap. Never any soap anywhere. I even took the trouble to bring some from home, which I lost the first night and left the first night in Paris. Fool. Another junction. I'm walking now through countryside that looks like something out of a western. Dry, dusty, short coniferous substitute for cactus. Any minute now the posse's going to arrive, actually. Yeah, that's how it feels anyway. Apparently, according to what's his name of Long Walks in France, this is all... I'm walking across a vast great bed of lava, and actually if I look at it, look at the stone closely, it is pumice kind. Thinking yesterday and also today how well this kind of thing would have suited Dad. The walking, the sun, the landscape. It's so much better than South Africa, really. A sort of in between England and South Africa. Thoughts also how my position is similar to his. Why is it that I haven't got my boys and family with me? He must also have thought that often, I should imagine. As if I somehow let them down by not being able to give them this, share this with them. When Tom, for example, went to France, it had to be because a teacher took him. Anyway, thoughts of that kind don't really get one anywhere, I suppose. Thoughts obviously also of Vicky. The perfection of this, particularly this morning's walk, tempered by the feeling of wanting to be sharing it with her also. But That seems impossible at the moment, the way things are. Except for the brief times we do manage to get together on our own. We have reached the road. Been walking for 2 hours now. I think I'm coming to another main road. I'll have a look at the map, I think. Yes. Col de la Ventouse. Altitude 980 meters. Right, here we are with a sign. La Gironde, 1 hour, with a picture of a water tap. Saulzay-le-Roi, 1 hour 45, with a picture of a hotel and a set of scales and a bus. And Pessard, 2 hours 30, with a cross, knife and fork and a gîte sign. Well, we know there's a gîte there. And time for a drink. One of those oranginas, I think. Suddenly, I've come out of several kilometres of wood and shade and tunnel-like feeling to an open panorama looking south along the line of further hills, probably down towards, I suppose, Mont d'Or. A buzzard circling in the air above me. And 2 cyclists came up the hill towards me, pedalling hard. Good, isn't it?
Huh?
Good.
Yeah.
So, is this your first stop?
No. The third, I think.
Yeah. Everywhere where we see berries.
I just had a drink just back there, funny enough. I stopped by the crossroads.
Everywhere where we see the berries.
Oh, yes. Raspberries. Yes.
Good raspberries.
Mm.
What are the little red ones?
Which one? Blackberries and raspberries.
Ah, these are blackberries. The other.
These are blackberries.
That's blackberries. The other ones.
And those are raspberries. The tall, straight ones. Very nice. They seem to grow along all the way along the paths.
Huh?
They seem to be growing all the way along the paths. Yeah, very good. I'm making for La Gironde, is it? I think there's probably some... Caronde. That's about half an hour, I think.
No, you want to stop.
Hmm? Yeah, I will. I think I'll be able to buy some food there.
Oh, you don't want to pass through the other one.
What?
The other.
Is there another route?
Oh, Pesado.
Oh, yeah, that's further on.
Pesado.
That's further on. So there's La Gironde is... Ooh, where? Oh, there, yeah. Oh, yes, I just want to... I haven't got anything, you see.
Oh, yeah.
I didn't buy anything yesterday. I should have done, but that's nothing.
Nothing.
Nothing. Well, what I bought Orangina from
Yeah.
Madame.
What did you have for breakfast?
Nothing.
Nothing. Oh.
That's all right. It's all right.
I've got bread and...
I'm not hungry yet, but I think by the time I reach
yeah.
that village...
Yeah.
I think.
Hopefully they are they don't close down.
Well, we'll see.
Otherwise, you wait there. 10 minutes after we will come and give
Yeah.
you food.
I had a big meal last night, so not too bad. But I ate, you know.
That's English. It was not too bad.
Yeah.
you know this expression? Les English, les Anglais, ils ne disent pas c'est bon, ils disent c'est pas très mauvais. It wasn't too bad. Et pour dire c'est bon, hein?
Yes.
And the breakfast this morning?
I didn't have breakfast.
Oh.
I didn't have anything this morning. That's because I had a big meal last night. I'm all right. For the moment. Yeah. But maybe I'll see you further on.
Yep.
Yeah. Okay. Bye. I just reached the summit of a small pass before I drop down to the next village, Garadine. And I got a superb view looking back of all the main peaks as far as Puy de Dôme, which is only just visible in the heat haze, the white mast. Just about all I can see. In the foreground is our cultivated fields, which stretch through into the middle of the mountains. And just to my right, an unlikely sight. Council rubbish tip. It's totally out of place here. I don't really see where it would serve either. Perhaps there's a town called Aubrac, I think. Maybe it's from there. Still, they could have chosen somewhere better. I'm hoping to find food at this village, but as the couple following me pointed out, it's quite possible that everything was shut now. It's 1:30, and Saulzay-le-Foix is probably another hour's walk on. Only time to put my hat on. Aha. We're doubly rewarded here. We had a view to the north, a fine view to the north, and now I have a fine view to the south. I was wrong earlier, there wasn't Mont d'Or, but I think probably what I can see in the distance is about as far away as south of me as Puy de Dôme is north of me. Do we walk up that one as well, I wonder? It's sweaty work today. I was just beginning to wonder if I'd taken the right track. But here we have another marked post. On the whole, walking is certainly made easy by all this signposting. One's not spending half one's time map reading. I suppose the nearest thing I know in Britain to compare with this, some of this landscape at least, is Salisbury Plain after a long dry spell. The plain obviously hasn't got the volcanic peaks, but this part I'm walking through now is very like the plain in midsummer. Biscuit brown and not much in the way of vegetation. Very few trees, unlike the section that we've just been through. Hat now well and firmly on, so it's getting very hot. Thank God I've got it. It's looking a bit bashed now after its trip from England down to here. It was trains and things. However, it's serving its purpose. It's good to be able to do a walk where one isn't coming back to the point of setting off. There's something about just walking on into the unknown that's exciting. I can see those twin peaks in the distance ahead of me, and it's a romantic sight. Onward. Country has definitely opened out here, and very little woodland. Small farms, a couple of villages in sight, and that's about it. Cows in the fields on the other side, Frisians. No one in sight, of course. Nice feeling of space. Good level walking today too, which is just right, especially after yesterday going up the Puy de Dôme. I think I've had to do some heavy climbing today. I'd have felt it. What little I have had to do, I've certainly known about it. But this is super. It's good to see smaller herds. It reminds me of the early days when on the farm in Stoke Rivers. As I'm just passing a piece of meadowland fenced off with electric fencing, and inside a couple of dozen cows and a portable milking bale. Excellent. I can't be far now. I should have thought from Sauzet-le-Foy. I can't really see anything that looks like a large village there. Where is it? You cast a group of at least a dozen strong coming towards me over the ridge. I wonder where they're from and where they're on to. We shall see. That explains where Sauzet is anyway, over the top of this ridge, I reckon. And so they passed. I think I can see the village cemetery, and the rest of the village is hidden. I'm beginning to get worried. I should do with something to eat now. And drink. And the black volcanic grit of these tracks. The feet begin to feel quite hot underneath. At all costs, I must avoid starting a blister. Anyway, I'm nearly about to stop. Gosh, it's like walking into something in the Lake District or Wales. The church, beach, or some large deciduous trees surrounding the grey roofs of the houses. Nothing apparently French. And behind, the outline of the hills. The Black Mountain. It could almost be the Black Mountain. Well, the book said 1 3/4 of an hour since I last stopped, and that's just about exactly what it's been. So presumably one can rely on those times from now on. Goldfinches in the wild broom making a racket. A whole flock of them. Sounds of the Auvergne. I don't know if they come across. Possibly don't. But the breeze blows. Just the occasional hum of a bee. The incessant zizzing of the grasshoppers. I must really find out what the various species are that make this noise all the time. There's one quite loud one. Almost sounds like a rattlesnake. But everything is incredibly tranquil and calm. 6:15. I'm the only one around, and I'm looking back the way I've come. The sun is behind me, in the direction in which I'm now heading. But looking back, it's the same wide, open fields, and further off, the summits of the various cols as far back as the Puy. And this roan red track, gritty and stony, to walk upon. You can hear a buzzard crying somewhere. I spent a long time in the village. I was happy to sit down there. When I got there, I had nothing to eat. I didn't have anything with me. And all they would give me was a sandwich. And I had a demi of rouge. And as I was sitting there, the two young walkers from the last night's gîte came along. So I determined to be friendly. And they sat and had a coffee and looked at my maps, and we started discussing the various ways on from tonight's rest. And there's obviously some difficult stuff ahead. Bought some groceries on the strength of possibly not finding anything. I should have had some today. And they're going to cook a meal tonight instead of buying one. So it'll be a cheap night. So quiet and peaceful, it's almost like being alone amongst the chariots, right out in the middle of them. And in this light, it could almost be there. Boyhood days. Happy or not. Influential, I think. Gives one a love of wild and lonely places. Almost in Passade. And a marvellous view now of the whole string of peaks or cols from north to south. And I look from the south at the whole range of them. Peaks isn't the right word, really. They do remind me very much of the Malverns, especially at this distance, except the Puy de Dôme, which is much higher than the rest. I believe the Malverns are more volcanic anyway. And superficially and at a distance, they have that look about them. They're going sort of rosy red now in the late afternoon, early evening sunshine. And I'm just about to walk into the village. This morning's walk was really good. This afternoon I've rather wasted, really, but I think probably that's a good thing. Otherwise I might have been tempted to overdo things. The ground was certainly very hot underfoot. It might have been blistered or whatever. Cows this some of them have bells around their necks. Listen. And 150 yards up the track ahead of me, a solitary woman with a dog. At a dark time of day. It's just, in fact, the one cow with the bell. Is that because that particular cow is the boss cow of the herd? And where she goes, the others follow. Maybe. All of them, incidentally, are allowed to have their horns. No debudding here. Another open milking bale down there. Thursday, 18th of September, 9:15. Today I'm setting off along the pilgrim's route, and darn me if it hasn't started raining. It looks very misty on the hill that I can see above the town from my window here. As long as it's a light, misty rain, I can cope with it. I don't want thunderous downpours like yesterday. What a damn nuisance though. But I had such good fortune in the high places, the high parts of this walk, that I suppose I can't complain. The beggar who sits on the steps of the post office all day long, as far as I can see, he's there now. I wonder if he makes a good living. Whenever I've been in, I haven't seen anything in his hat. Oh, except a 1 franc piece, I think. He deserves to make a good living doing that all day. And after half an hour I'm up out of Le Puy. And because of this autumn mist, I can no longer even see down into the town. Everything is hidden. It's going to be one of those mornings at least, with everything ghostly and quiet and grey. Already sweating. How often one sets out in the morning with a climb. That wasn't too bad, in fact. And the pack certainly doesn't seem heavy. So a couple of days' rest has probably been a good thing. The last building at the top of the hill here, oddly enough, is what looks like an elastic factory, a la Tiverton, a place called Elastel, and it looks exactly the same, even the architecture of the building. Not the same smell, though. I should imagine the waymarking along this route would probably be better than any other in France. We'll see. It's good to be walking again. It's hard to readjust after a week of it to not getting up in the morning and setting out. As interesting as Le Puy was, and as much as I liked it, somehow I feel happier to be on my way. Whether that is so as to have my attention distracted by the activity of walking, and the physical effort of it. I'm not sure. The idea for anyone setting out on a pilgrimage to somewhere as far away as Compostela, which is 1,000 miles, I think, from here, must have been some feeling, really. Apprehension, a lot of excitement.